Hi everyone, it's Michelle with Crafts with MV. I have a new card we'll be doing today. It's from the Sea of Textures stamp set and the Under the Sea Framelits. I made it a shaker card because to me it was calling to be a shaker card. I've pre-done a lot of the big shot work. Let's get started. So what I used was an Old Navy card base, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 1 1/4. I used the piece of Tranquil Textured Designer Series paper. I have a piece of acetate. I used, actually since I pre-did these, and I also just kind of put glue on the bottom of it, but I used the Berry Burst, Very Vanilla, Mint Macaron. I used the Grapefruit Grove paper, this is with Mint Macaron stamped on it. This is Tranquil Tide, these pieces. This is I don't know if you could see it, but the Grapefruit Grove paper again, but this time I stamped it with Grapefruit Grove. Now again, that's with Mint Macaron. And I used Crumb cake to make the netting. I used Berry Burst and then stamped it with Night and Navy to make the octopus. And then I had the 2 circles, which because I was trying to make it look like a porthole with a place where I had a shaker. I used Night of Navy. And I'm using the Sea of Texture stamp set. And I'm using, of course, the octopus. I'm not using the netting. I'm using the Have a Wonderful Adventure stamp, and I'm using the seaweed stamp. And again, I'm using several framelits from the Under the Sea Framelits. I'm using the stitch framelits to make my porthole, and I'm also using the laying circles to do the same thing. Okay, those are all the things I use. The ink I'm using again is the Grapefruit Grove. I use some Mint Macaron. I use some Night and Navy, and I use the Tranquil Tide. So that's what I use. Also for the beads, for this shaker card, I'm using the Tranquil Texture Sprinkles. There's just a bunch of beads in there, different sizes. So you can hear it shaking. So like I said, I've pre-done a lot of things. What I did first was I did all my big shot work. So I, cut out everything I needed from the big shot, as you can see. I made a circle in the paper already. And I'm just going to show you how I made the, I also have this foam adhesive. It's a sheet, and I cut that out. I did the circle in that too, so I have a perfect circle to go around. We have foam adhesive, I just don't have any right now. And I also cut up the rest of it to put underneath so that everything is the same height. If I use dimensionals, it might be a little different height. The other thing I used, and I know I'm getting off track here, is we had these glitter and clear little epoxy dots. I don't think we have them anymore in the new catalog, but I don't know if you could see on his, I just put those for his eyes. So I'm going to put that off to the side. I just want to show you how I made the nesting piece. It's this one, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's what I used. Okay. So in order to make my circle, I'm going to call it a porthole. In order to make it, I don't know if you can see it, I have the stitching. I don't know if you can see that. I used the stitch shape to get like a stitching around it. And then how you do that is you have your magnetic plate, your clear plate. You're going to take your piece of, now I did 2 of these because I wanted to make it raised a little bit. I don't know if you could see, so I just put one on top of the other to give it some depth. So I took the stitched piece, is the outside rim, and then the inside rim is just the circle. I just centered it in there, put it on here, ran it through, and it comes out like this. So you're going to have it stitched on the edges here. Again, I'll show you that here. You have it stitched on the edges. Okay, so that's how you make that sandwich. And then you run it through the big shot. I ran everything ahead of time through the big shot, like I said, just to save time. So now we can start putting it together. And I forgot a piece of very vanilla paper. Hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. My camera turned off while I was cutting the paper. So this is very vanilla paper. This is cut to 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And this I'm going to be putting underneath here, and that's where I'll be putting my sentiment on. The designer series paper is cut 5 1/4 by 4, and of course you know, you can put it where you want. I want it up a little bit because I'm putting some stuff down here, so that's how we did that. The rest of the paper, and of course you'll need a sheet for inside, and the rest was just scraps to cut out everything else. Let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is adhere the very vanilla paper to the center of the card base. Okay. And you just want to put it in the center. And then what I did, because I like to have my sentiment in this, you know, make sure I'm putting my sentiment in the center, is I'm going to take this and just lay it over top, and then lightly make a circle with my pencil. We're going to erase that later. So now I have an idea of where I want my sentiment to go. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment, the Night of Navy ink. And I just choose one that said "Have a wonderful adventure." Sorry, my hand's in the way here. Okay. So now I want to center that in the circle where it fits best. Perfect. Okay. That's done. And then the next thing we're going to do is do the Tranquil Tide, and we're going to do the, I'm going to put a little seaweed around it. I know you can't really see it on the card, but it does add a little depth. But for the seaweed piece, I'm just going to be inking up the top part of it. And I'll actually do it here so my hand's not always in the way. And I'm just going to add some seaweed, and it can go, you know, off, because that's all going to be covered anyway by the designer series paper. I put a little bit up the side here, a little bit up the side here. Just add a little bit in between. So just add the amount that you'd like to add. There's no set amount. You can do less or more. You don't really see it because you're going to put the beading in, but it does kind of add a little something. The next thing we're going to do is I'm going to take the one side of this paper off. I'm not going to, for this, I'm just doing the clear side. Okay, so I'm taking that side off. And I'm going to get rid of my pencil marks. You're just going to get rid of your pencil marks quickly. The only one you're really going to see is that one. Maybe in here a little bit. Okay. And now I'm going to, you can still kind of see it a little bit. I'm going to put this now. Okay, now I'm going to take a few of the beads. You don't need too many. And what I would do is just take a few, stick them in, a few pinches. That's it. Now you're going to peel off the other side. And you're going to take your acetate piece, which I made 3 by 3 just to make it simple. And you're just going to stick that right on top. There you go. So that part's done. Now you'll see this is going to go on top of there, like that. So this we're putting off to the side because we're going to go ahead and put the stuff together on this. I'm going to start with my biggest pieces first. So the first thing I'm going to put together is the 2 layers of the... I'm going to take 1 layer, put it around the hole. And then I'm just going to put another layer right on top of it. Just because I want it 2 layers thick. You don't have to do this. I just wanted it 2 layers thick. Now I'm going to put down the, and I'll do it like this. I'm going to put down the netting, and then I'm going to decide where I'm going to place my, a little bit over. Now I'm going to put my bottom pieces on. I did extra pieces. You can put as many or as less on as you want. And of course you could do different shapes and stuff. I just did a variety, and like I said, I you know, did a bunch of them. So I'm just going to take some of these long seaweeds, kind of just place them in different areas. Now I'm going to place some starfish. Also, when I cut out the starfish, I mean the sand dollars, I kept the insides because I'm going to be placing them down to someplace. The coral here. It's a wave fan coral. Whoops. Okay, well this little piece can go. I broke it, sorry. But hey, you can break things and can tuck them in. Like this, over there. I'll tuck that in over here. So however you want to do it is up to you. I mean, like I said, I just cut out a bunch of things and, you know, put them on. So I think that's good enough. You don't need to do overkill. Like I said, I put those little epoxy, I have these clear and glitter epoxy dots. I just did the clear ones. Like I said, I don't really have these anymore, but it just seemed like the perfect addition for this card. So I just put those on his eyes. One eye. The other eye. Did that. And now on the back, I'm going to be using Snail, but I'm also going to be using, like I said before in the beginning, the other. Now this is going to have, because it's going over the acetate part, so we really don't need to raise that too much. So I'm going to put the snail around here and then just put these on the other sides and tuck them under in the corners on this side. So we can just go ahead and place these randomly. And again, the reason I'm using, I actually took the inner circle from the foam adhesive and just cut it into a pie. And the reason I did that was because I wanted it to be the same height when I place it on the card as the height of the shaker part. That makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense. And then I'm just going to tuck those two underneath the acetone. So I'm just going to peel this off. Things that aren't peeled off yet. So now we're going to take our card, and the first thing we want to do is center that circle so that we're covering there. Good. Right there. There we go. And there's our shaker card. You can hear it. And that's it. I didn't do too much popping up of these things because it's already popped up with the foam. Hope you like it. So I am a Stampin' Up demonstrator. If you need a demonstrator, I'd be happy to be your demonstrator. If you like this video, please subscribe. That's it. Again, I put a list of the supplies used below, and I have full instructions, a PDF of full instructions on my blog that you can print out. Hope you liked it. I love this set. And I like doing shaker cards, so I've done a few. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, and God bless.